A very warm welcome to Genie's Crochet Corner. In today's tutorial, I'd just like to show you this lovely pattern. It's a 2-row repeat pattern, and it makes for a great blanket or a cardigan, and even a shawl if you want. And we're just going to be using a multiple of even number of stitches plus an extra stitch. And we're just going to start off by making our chain and then working a foundation row of single crochet into the chain. And then the first pattern row is a row of double crochet, and then we work the second pattern row. And I'm using a 7mm crochet hook and just some worsted or 8-ply yarn. A 6mm or a 6.5mm crochet hook will be just fine. I'm using the 7mm crochet hook simply because I crochet quite tightly. So I'm going to start off by leaving a thread, and then I'm going to make my slip knot. So I'm going to chain an even number of stitches. So I'll chain 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16. So I've got my even number of stitches, and I'm just going to work an extra chain. So it's a even number of stitches plus one extra chain. And what we're going to do is just work a row of single crochet into the chain. And that's just the foundation row. So I'm not going to use this first chain. It's just the turning chain and doesn't count as a stitch. So into the second chain from the hook. So that's the first chain, the second chain from the hook. I just work my single crochet, and then we just work one single crochet into each chain across. And we're working the first pattern row on top of the foundation row of single crochet. And then just one single crochet into the last chain. I'm just going to count my stitches just to make sure I have an even number of stitches. So I should have 16 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So for the first pattern row, we're just going to chain 2, 1, 2, and into each of the single crochet, we're just going to be working one double crochet. So I've made my 1, 2 chain, which is the turning chain and stands for the first stitch. So I'm not going to use this first single crochet. So into the next single crochet, I'm just going to work my double crochet. Just 1, double crochet, and then just one double crochet until the end of the row into each of the single crochet. So we've come to the end of the first pattern row, and we've worked one double crochet into each of the single crochet of the foundation row. The second pattern row, we're just going to chain 1, 2, and this is the turning chain and stands as a stitch. So we're not going to use the first stitch, and we're going to be working a front post double crochet around the next stitch, and we're going to leave the last loop of the double crochet on the hook, and then we're going to work a second front post double crochet around the same double crochet, and we leave the loop, the last loop of that double crochet on the hook. So we have 1, 2, 3 loops on the hook. We're going to be pulling the yarn through the first 1, 2 loops and then through the last 2 loops, and we're just going to repeat that sequence. So a front post double crochet, leaving the last loop of that double crochet on the hook, and then another front post double crochet around the next stitch, and then just pull a loop through the first 2 loops on the hook, and then through the last 2 loops of the hook, and we just continue with that. Our front post double crochet, leaving the last loop of the double crochet on the hook, and then round the same double crochet, another double crochet, leaving the last loop of that double crochet on the hook, then just pull a loop through the first 2 and then through the next 2, and that's how we're getting this little rib effect here. So we'll just continue to the end, and then just pull through the first 2 and then the next 2, and then your front post double crochet around the next double crochet, and we leave the last loop on the hook, and then we work another the same, pull through the first 2 loops and then through the next 2 loops. We'll repeat that till the end of the row. and around the next double crochet of the previous round. We work our double crochet, front post double crochet, leaving the last loop on the hook, and then another round the same stitch, and then just pull through the first 2 loops and then the second 2 loops. You're starting to get this bit of a ribbed effect here. Just we repeat the same round the next double crochet. And then into the last double crochet. Around the last double crochet, we just work the front post double crochet, leaving the last loop on the hook, and then another front post double crochet, leave the last loop on the hook, and then we pull through 2 loops and then the other 2 loops. So we're left with our 1 chain, our 2 chain space. I'm just going to slip underneath the 2 chain space and just work a double crochet. So we have our foundation row and our first pattern row and then the second pattern row. So I'm going back to the first pattern row where we just work our double crochet from to the end of the row. So we just miss this stitch because this 2 chain stands as a stitch, and we just work our double crochet, and this makes quite a nice cuddly blanket pattern. And you have all these I would say holes at the end of the row that you can use for making your border for your blankie. So I'm just making these 1 double crochet into each stitch across. So the pattern is 1 row of double crochet, and then the second pattern row is the front post double crochet. So you just repeat that for as long as you want your blanket to be, and you just as long as you have an even number of stitches, you'll be plus 1 extra. So I've come to the 2 chain space. I'm just going to slip underneath that and work a double crochet. And then for the second pattern row, we miss this first stitch. The 2 chain stands as a stitch, and then we just work our incomplete front post double crochet around each double crochet, pulling the loop through the first 2 loops and then the last 2 loops. So it's got quite a nice little ribbed effect there. It does make a lovely cuddly blanket. And then just your front post incomplete double crochet, and then another one, front post incomplete double crochet, pull through 2 loops, and then the last 2 loops. And that's the second pattern row. And just through the first 2 loops and then the last 2 loops. And then we just continue until the end of the row. So we've come to the last double crochet. We just work our 2 incomplete double crochet around that last double crochet, and then just the loop through the first 2 loops and then the last 2 loops, and then we come to the 2 chain. I just go underneath the 2 chain and just work my double crochet, and that's how your pattern is. And I do hope this tutorial has been useful and helpful to you. Until next time, enjoy crocheting.